It's been such a busy and hot summer, I haven't had a lot of time or inclination to sew, but I have made up a few things and I'm ready to share them with you now. Hi, my name is Sarah, and if you're new to my channel, I make videos all about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. The first item that I want to share with you was a gift, and I actually should have shown it in my last makes video, but I just completely forgot about it. A few months back, Carol from Polly Sews was in the area, and so she asked if I wanted to meet up for coffee. So we did do that, and we had a really nice chat, and I'm a horrible vlogger because I left my phone in the car, and so I didn't even get a picture, but I promise you it did happen. I had a really wonderful time, and as a little gift, I just made her up a drawstring bag. And I don't have it anymore, obviously, so I'll just put up a picture of what it looked like. I think the pattern is called the lined drawstring bag, and it's one that I've made dozens of times over the years. I just made the standard size, and I tried to pick quilting cottons from my stash that matched Carol's color palette, so she tends to like warm autumnal colors, so I tried to adhere to that, and hopefully she got some use out of it. I thought it might be good for traveling or something like that. So that was a really quick and easy make. But since I had forgotten to share it, and I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to acknowledge that I had met up with Carol and how much fun I had. So that was the first item. And the second thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to show you pictures of my Ashton top. I finally got pictures taken of the Ashton top that I had refashioned out of the denim skirt. So I will put those in for you now so you can see what they look like. I have really loved this top. Because it's denim, it tends to go with everything. And it's really very cool and comfortable to wear in hot weather. So I have worn it a number of times this summer. So I think that that was one of my best refashions yet. I took something that I was not wearing at all, and I turned it into something that I will wear quite frequently. So that one was a big success. So this is an alteration that I made. These are a pair of Quince jeans that I purchased. I needed to replace my Closet Core Jude jeans in white because they had just gotten way too tight in the thighs. They didn't look good and they weren't comfortable. So I did go ahead and retire them, and I replaced them with these jeans because I just don't have time right now to sew everything that I need. And the last time that I had ordered pants from Quince, I had gotten a size 26, but I have gotten bigger since then, so I went ahead and ordered a size 27. However, when they arrived, I found that they were still really, really tight in the thighs, even though they fit in the waist. So I sent those back and reordered a size 28. Now, if I'm going to be honest, this 28 is actually still too tight in the legs, but I was worried that if I kept sizing up more, then the waist size was just going to be too comical. It was going to be too much to take in. So I settled on the size 28 as kind of a compromise size. It is a little bit tight in the thigh, but it's definitely better than my Jude jeans were. And in order to fix the waist, which was too big, I just added these darts, which you can see here. I've done this in the past with other ready-to-wear jeans, and the reason that I did it this way was partly because it was the simplest. I've also done other alterations where I unpicked the waistband and added elastic in the back, and that works too. But this way I didn't have to unpick anything. And the other reason why I did this dart construction is because it is theoretically reversible. So if I do gain weight and I need extra space in the waist, then I can just simply take out the darts and then the waist will be bigger, and I haven't cut away any fabric or anything. So I wore these pants yesterday and they were pretty comfortable. I didn't have any issues with them. So I am happy with that alteration. And now let's move on to the new makes. This jacket is the Pattern Emporium Downtown Jacket in the roomy fit. I made a size 8 and I graded up to a 10 at the upper back in order to account for my broad back. I shortened the sleeves by 2 inches. You'll see they're folded up here, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And I made the shortest cropped length. The fabric that I used is 2 yards of linen that I got from Fabric Wholesale Direct. And I had wanted to make this for my vacation, but I didn't end up finishing it on time. I didn't have time to find the right buttons, so I ended up going on my trip and then finishing it up after I came back. Now, it's too soon to call this one a fail, but I will say that it's a disappointment, and it's a lesson to me to do all the things that I tell you guys to do all the time, and yet I ignored my own advice on this particular garment. I think because I was rushing, I was trying to get it ready for vacation, so I did not take the time to do a muslin. I thought to myself, it's a jacket, it doesn't need to fit that closely, so I don't need to do a muslin. But there's 2 main issues that make this jacket a disappointment. The first one is that I should have made the sleeves a little bit shorter. I probably should have taken off another inch, maybe like 1.25 inches off of the length. Now I could go back in and unpick the cuff and take the length off and then put the cuff back on again, but I haven't really been motivated to do that so far. So all I did was I just turned up the cuff, and when I turn it up, it's kind of like a bracelet length, which for the summertime is perfectly fine. So the length issue is a little bit annoying, but it's something that I could cope with. The real problem and where I think I went wrong is choosing the length of the jacket. So I picked the shortest cropped length. But again, I didn't make a muslin, and so the problem with this jacket is I think it's just a little bit too short. I tried to wear it with a skirt and a top, the Ashton top that I just showed you in another outfit photo. And this jacket is just a little bit shorter than the top, so the top peeks out below, and I just feel like those proportions are off and it doesn't look quite right. I'm really not happy with that outfit. And I've tried this on with a variety of different things, and pretty much the only thing that this works with is dresses or some sort of like solid column of color underneath. So I suppose if I wore like an all black outfit and then I put this jacket on top, that might work. But anytime there's a contrast between the top and the bottom and then the jacket peaks up higher than the top, I just think that it looks sloppy. It just doesn't look proportional. And so if I had it to do over again, I don't remember what the next length down is. It might be like hip length, and that might actually be a little bit longer than I wanted. So maybe I want something in between those two lengths. But the point is, this jacket is just a little bit too cropped to be practical for everyday life. I can't really wear it with separates. And it's been so hot this summer, I haven't even really needed to wear a jacket with a dress. So I'm not saying that this is a total fail yet. I may end up wearing it a little bit. I actually have worn it a few times with dresses, but I do just wish that I had gone ahead and made a muslin, because I instantly would have realized that the jacket is shorter than I really wanted it to be. And with the way that the button band is done, I can't really go back and fix it and make like a narrower hem or something. So we'll see. I don't know how much I'm going to end up wearing this. It may have ended up being kind of a waste of time since there's such a limited amount of my wardrobe that I can actually wear it with. I was picturing this as more of like an everyday throw-on jacket, kind of like my denim jackets that I wear all the time, but I just don't think that it's going to work out that way. So don't be like me. Make the muslin no matter how much you think that you don't need it. You can end up eliminating those mistakes and then not being left with a garment that you're not sure that you're really going to wear. But let's move forward and end on a high note. So I did end up finishing my birthday dress, although I did feel a little bit stressed out. I think I left it a little bit too last minute for my taste. I ended up finishing the dress on the Tuesday before we were leaving town. We were leaving town on the weekend, but I did finish it on time and I wore it on my birthday and it was a great success. This is the True Bias Darla dress. I made it out of Rifle Paper Company fabric that I bought from Stash Fabrics. I made a size 0 at the chest and I graded up to a size 4 at the waist. I made the view that has the open back with the crisscross ties. And I made my dress a midi length. So originally the dress was intended to be a maxi length that hits at the ankle. In my experience, those dresses tend to look really casual when they're that long when you wear them with flat sandals. And I wear flats almost all the time now. I barely ever wear heels. And because I wanted this to be more of a dressy occasion wear type dress, I went ahead and shortened the skirt by 8 inches in several different places in order to get it to be more of a midi length on me. I just feel like when you can see a little bit more leg when I'm wearing flat shoes, it looks a little bit sexier, I guess. It looks a little bit more occasion appropriate in my opinion. Now this dress does come with pockets, but I did not put the pockets in because I knew that I would never use them in this kind of fabric. Whenever I try to put items in rayon pockets, it just sags and pulls down. So I figured I'm never going to use these pockets, might as well just skip that step. And by doing that, I was actually able to do French seams on all of the skirt seams. So there's 2 side seams and then there's actually also a center back seam. That was one issue that I had with the pattern. In my opinion, because this particular view doesn't have a zipper, you don't actually need a center back seam. And I understand that she probably drafted the pattern to have the seam so that she wouldn't have to have 2 different pattern pieces for 2 different views. But I have seen plenty of other patterns that just have like 2 cut lines where it's like cut here for view B, cut here for view A. And I feel like she could have easily have just added another cut line that eliminated that seam allowance, because you really don't need that center back seam. I could have easily have cut it on the fold, and I would have done that if I had been thinking ahead of time, but unfortunately I wasn't. So that's just one little note where I feel like it could be an improvement in the pattern, but otherwise the instructions are really good, and I'm not unhappy with anything else about the pattern itself. Now in terms of adjustments, and I knew that I was going to have to make a small bust adjustment because True Bias drafts for a C cup and I am an A cup, but I wasn't sure how much I was going to have to take out. So the first time I just did the size 0 grading up to the size 4 and just sewed the bodice pieces together just to see what the fit was like. Then I made my adjustments. And so after doing a small bust adjustment, I think I did 3/4 of an inch, so 1.5 inches total. But after doing that adjustment, it made the placement of the darts really strange. Like the bottom darts were like all the way above my apex, and the angle of the side darts was really high and kind of weird. So I did have to maneuver those things a little bit to make them so that they were in the correct location for me. I also did do a straight size 4 on the back pieces. That was my broad back adjustment, just to give a little bit more space for my back. And then the other thing that I did was, well, first of all, I think you can see this here. This is the lining. When I was cutting out my pieces, I cut them all out the right direction, except for the front pieces. You cut one for the lining and one for the exterior. And I just was having a brain fart moment and I accidentally cut them upside down. So rather than scrapping both pieces and wasting more fabric, I just used the upside down piece for the lining. And that was actually kind of handy because it made it really easy for me to tell which one was the exterior and which one was the interior, and I didn't get them mixed up. I did recut the outside of the front piece, obviously, so that it would be right side up. So anyway, you can see on the lining here with the upside down flower that I attached foam cups to the lining and sandwiched it in between the bodice and the lining. And the way that I attached it was with little bar tacks. I didn't want to sew around the cups with like a zigzag because this is a woven fabric. I was worried that it was going to shift a little bit. It's rayon, it's slippery, and I didn't want it to get bunchy or like stretched out in weird places. So rather than stitching all the way around the cups, I just did these little bar tacks in 4 different places so that the cups won't move around in there. They're secured, but they're also not stitched down. There's a little bit of give there. So I think that's all that I wanted to say about the construction of this dress. Now the actual wearing and usability of it, I did wear it for my birthday dinner and I felt beautiful. I felt really fabulous. The nice thing about this fabric is that it has so many colors that it goes with different things. So on the day, which of course I did not take any pictures because my husband and I were just enjoying life and not worrying about taking pictures for Instagram. So I did wear the dress and I had my little pink and silver purse on and I had some silver shoes and silver jewelry and it looked really, really beautiful. But in the photos and clips that you will see, I actually styled it with gold and it looks equally beautiful that way. This dress is actually more versatile than I thought, even though it's a dress and you think you can only wear it one way. I do think that it's kind of a chameleon. You can dress it up or you can dress it down. I would feel appropriate wearing this to something like a summer outdoor wedding, but I could also just wear it on a random Tuesday. Now, in terms of the back and the ties, I will say that on the fussy scale, it's maybe like a 3 out of 5. It does take a little bit of time and maneuvering to get the ties in just the right place, and it's a little bit difficult to tie it behind my back and get it to look nice. But once it's there and in place, for the most part, you don't really have to mess with it again. However, I will say that I wore it just on a random Tuesday for fun, and I was doing all kinds of things. I was walking the dog and doing laundry, and at one point I took a nap. And over the course of the day, I did find that the ties would start to loosen up a little bit, and all of a sudden the bodice would get lower and lower, and I would realize that the boobs were like not in the right place anymore. So I'd have to kind of hike it back up and retie the ties a little bit tighter. So the dress is slightly fussier than I would really like it to be, but I did want to do that fancy back because it was an occasion dress and I wanted it to look nice for the occasion. And I also think that if I wore it to like a wedding or something, I'm not going to be moving around as much. And so I don't think that the tie issue is going to be a problem. It's really just more over the course of normal wearing on a normal day that I had to deal with the ties loosening up. I also still feel like I could wear this to the office as long as I wore a jacket or a cardigan over top to cover up the back. So in case you can't tell, I am really thrilled with how this dress came out. I feel like it's beautiful. I feel beautiful wearing it. It's maybe one of the proudest makes that I have ever done. I think that my fit and construction was really good and I'm just so, so proud of it. I hope to have this one in my closet for many, many years and I just love it so much. It's always nice to have a really strong win after you've had a disappointment, and this was all that I could have dreamed of and more. So those are all of the things that I have finished recently. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate it so much if you would give me a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what your favorite make that you've made recently. I always love to hear from you guys, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you in the comments.